And so are there any things that potential gemstone investors might need to know in advance? For example, how long should they expect to keep their stones before reselling them?
So this is actually one of the most important things. Um, and as I was saying before, we were talking about how much you should be investing in gems. Uh, the minimum you should be looking at as an investment term for gems is even to say 10 years. I don't like to say 10 years, right? 12, 15, 20 years is what you need as your investment horizon. If you are in your 60s, gems are not a good investment for you. If you're in your 50s, you know, maybe. And it's really it is a young person's investment because it is something that, like I said, is you need a long time frame on. Another one of the big risks with gems, and this is really important for people to understand, is that the liquidity of gems is not great. So, unlike gold, which has a market price, you can go bring it any day to the bank, give it to them, they give you money, great. Gems don't have a marketplace like that. So with gems, you need a third person. Almost always need a third person involved to help you sell the gems. This is the same. It's the same issue with real estate, right? If you have a piece of real estate that you want to sell, you can do it on your own, but you're pretty much guaranteed to have better results if you get a real estate agent. If you're investing in art and you want to sell your art, again, if you want to get the proper amount of money out of it, you need to find a art dealer or art broker to work with you, or sell it at an auction. And this is same thing with gems. You need to find either a dealer, a gem dealer, or a gem broker, or an auction house to work with. And I do work with my own clients to sell their gems. I don't take other people's stones in, but I do work with my own clients at a later date. If they need to sell them, I will do that for people.
Okay. And so in terms of the sort of total investment amount or percentage of investments, how much would you suggest that people would put into a gemstone investment?
So as far as the total amount that people are going to put into a gemstone investment, as I kind of alluded to it earlier, that 20% would be the absolute max, and that's really only for young people. I would actually say that really you should be looking at more like 5 to 10% of your total portfolio should be invested in gems. What I'll often tell people, younger people who are interested in investing in gems, is we say, okay, your initial investment is going to be about 20% of your portfolio, and then every year we can every year for the next few years we'll put 10% of the money you have available for investment into gems. And we'll do that for another 5 to 10 years, and then after that we'll say, okay, you know what, now we're backing off as a percentage, which is rarely backing off as a total value purchase, because as time goes on, people make more money. And then we say, okay, after you've been doing that for about 10 years and you have about 10 years of gem investing under your belt, you're going to put a 5, 6, 8% in a year. Maybe one year you put 3 or 4, and another you put 10 or 12, but around 5, 6% a year from there, so that we end up with at the end of everything said and done, we're looking at a 10 to 20% of your portfolio is invested into gemstones.
Okay. And so lastly, do you have any recommendations for certain stones in particular that would be the best investments?
So this is a very difficult question. This is one of the most common questions I get at parties and whatnot, is hanging out and over a couple of drinks, and people say, well, if I wanted to invest in a gem, what should I buy? And it gets tricky doing this, because You do not want to go too heavily into any one gem. You do need to diversify your investment within the fact that you're diversifying your portfolio, but then you need to diversify your gem portfolio a little bit. That said, ruby, emerald, sapphire, always good. Emerald and sapphire are more liquid than ruby. There's just more demand for them than there is for ruby. That said, very fine ruby is a liquid gem. So, it's definitely there on the table. Particularly right now, April 2020, Zambian emeralds are currently selling for, the quality of the Zambian emeralds that are coming out and the prices that we're seeing for them is amazing. A lot of this is because of a company called Gemfields has introduced modern mining techniques to Zambia, and they're really getting fantastic material out at prices that are quite incredible. And I know that, I've done this for 20 years now, and 21 almost. And I know that, classically, when we see these, this beautiful material coming out, it's limited, right? It's a limited resource. And what's happened now is Gemfields has mapped out all the emeralds and all the mines and whatnot. All gems are a finite resource by default. That's part of what makes them gems, is that they're finite. So that emerald mine, the Kagem mine in Zambia right now, is producing incredible material, but it's not going to produce incredible material for long. So I would imagine that that's one that, if on a 5 to 10 year timeline, you're going to see very good increases in value. Another big one is there's sapphire coming out of Ethiopia. That is incredible, big, beautiful, unheated stones. And, again, at the beginning, I've had 20 years doing this, and the goods that you get at the beginning of the mining process, because the sapphire mines in Ethiopia are newly rediscovered. So again, that's something where, the Ethiopian sapphire, the unheated Ethiopian sapphire that you're finding on the market today is, I think, an incredible investment. Other than that, there's some that are a little bit more risky. I always, ametrine is definitely there, and, like I said, it's risky, but it's incredibly rare. It's a single source gem. And I really do feel that ametrine is underpriced on the market. It's the most undervalued gem there is. But I would never tell anybody to put more than like 5 to 10% of their total investment, the total gem investment portfolio, into ametrine, right? So if you have 10% of your total portfolio in gems, I would say maximum 10% of that should be in ametrine, and really maximum, right? So it means like 1% of all your investments is in ametrine. But I would say ametrine is almost similar to like a small cap stock, where there's more of a chance of it, kind of running and making, big strides in value. As soon as we see, some of the larger jewelry houses start to promote it a little bit more, right? If we were to see Tiffany or Van Cleef or Cartier start doing lines with it, we could see an increase in value of 3 to 5 times very fast, right? Within 12 months. So that's one. There's some other really interesting things coming out. Right, we have some of this Fanta Spessartite garnet, which I would caution people. It's beautiful and it's amazing, and I personally love it. But there's a little bit of risk involved with that, because if the supply of the Fanta Spessartite garnet doesn't continue and it just dies out, it will be very expensive, but not terribly liquid. So collectors will pay a fortune for it in 20 years. If they're, if the material that's coming out today is gone, which is very, very likely, um, you know, collectors will spend a small fortune for it, right, to get nice pieces. But you're going to need to, wait longer to sell that piece, even though you're making more money on it, right? Where an emerald, ruby, sapphire, you can give it to an auction house and, within 2 to 3 months have your money out of it. With a piece like that, you might be, waiting 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, 12 months. So again, I really like to compare it to investing in real estate in that it's not a liquid asset. You can't get money for it tomorrow, right? We're making this interview in the middle of the COVID epidemic. If you have a chunk of land, in the city, even, right? Never mind outside of the city. If you had if you have an acre in downtown Toronto, it's still not liquid today, because there's nobody, there's no way to do the transaction. So similarly with gems, you can have a $10 million incredible emerald, but today it's not liquid. And that's, again, something I really like to stress, is that the liquidity of gems is poor, but I mean, there's so many other great reasons to invest in them.
All right. Well, as always, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for your time again today.
Thank you.
Anything else you'd like to leave us with?
Yeah, no, nothing in particular. Of course, visit the website, skygems.ca. If you're interested in investing in gems, you can reach out to me, David at skygems.ca, and I can give you some pointers and kind of put together a parcel for you. Maybe it's, your first time investing in gems, or maybe you have been investing in gems for 20 years and have done very well and are looking to, add to that collection and add to that investment. So yeah, reach out to me, David at skygems.ca. I would love to chat with you more about investing in gems. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great day, and don't forget to tell your friends about skygems.ca. Bye for now.